Charlie Rose has some insightful panelists for us to listen to right now. Charlie?
Indeed we do, Scott. Michael Gerson, the Washington Post, Peggy Noonan of the Wall Street Journal, and Republican strategist Frank Luntz. I begin with Frank. Tell me, what do you think?
This is inconceivable 5-6 hours ago. First, all exit polling should be banned. The fact is the numbers were wrong all the way across the table on state after state after state. The 5 p.m., the second wave got it wrong. Second, there is still a hidden Trump vote. People who refuse to tell pollsters who they voted for will not acknowledge it, and I think they're going to come out of the woodwork tonight. And third, how do you address that anger? Those are the people who really want to tear up, blow up Washington. They're going to have to figure out a way to work with them, with the House, the Senate. This is going to be the most chaos that we have seen in Washington in a long, long time.
Your belief is that Trump has won?
My belief, yes, I've had a chance to look at the counties. I believe that Trump will be the next president.
Peggy.
I think we should keep this in mind, tens of millions of Americans tonight who are experiencing this evening not only as a political event and a historical event, but as a spiritual event. They feel grateful. They feel they are rebuking a decayed establishment that has richly earned a rebuke in 25 different ways. Spoke to a friend of mine, a major Trump supporter, this evening. He told me, I just spoke to him, I said, how did you react when you realized this was going to happen? He's a tough, hard-boiled guy, and he said it was 9 p.m. and I burst into tears. He said, this is really going to be something. He said, but it's the right thing, we are certain. I leave it there.
We often saw in this campaign, when the focus was on Donald Trump, his numbers went down. When the focus was on Hillary Clinton, her numbers went down. My question at this hour of this election day, was this a victory for Trump or a loss for Hillary Clinton? Was it about Trump or Clinton?
Well, I think it's hard to argue that this isn't a victory for Trump. Yeah. I mean, his people came out in the right places, in the right numbers, and brought an extraordinary upset. One of the largest in American history. And I think that's all true.
The largest political upset in American history if he goes on to win this.
Yeah, I think that's certainly
in
true.
Our lifetime, certainly.
This is Dewey defeats Truman. This is since 1948.
But I have to add, though, that this is also a validation of a certain kind of politics, more cruel, more ruthless, more personal than any I've seen in my lifetime. He has a huge burden, if he wins this election, to do some form of outreach, to say that this is a single country and not use groups to attack in that way. I don't know if he's capable of that, but every president has that, and this president more than others.
If he wins, it's not only the biggest upset of our political memory, is it also the most transformative election because of who he was, how he campaigned, and what he did? Is it?
I think that's fair. On foreign policy, this is a total change from the Reagan foreign policy.
It's a change from the Bush foreign policy. I mean, it is a removal. It's almost like kicking away from the past 15 years, I think is how Trump would see it.
50 years.
And his supporters, I must say, you said Trump said he would do this, and it is a remarkable thing. His supporters, too, all along said they were going to accomplish what they accomplished tonight. It is quite an achievement.
But the problem is, I've talked to his supporters a lot in the last year for your show.
Right.
They want revenge. They don't want cooperation. They don't want compromise.
What does revenge mean for them?
They want to get even with the people in Washington and Wall Street who did them down.
But what do you mean, get even?
Get even with the politicians who didn't listen to them. Get even with the businesses who've gotten rich and sent their jobs to foreign countries. Get even with a society that they think has turned against them. The one thing that the Trump people have in common is that they think they've lost their America and they want it back.
There's also confidence in a Trump government. The Dow Jones futures are going down, down, down.
Yes.
With great concern of what it means.
That does feel like Brexit. Yeah. You know it does. It's a very similar. upturning of the establishment and then the financial establishment beginning to quake and quiver. We'll see what follows that.
He won't be able to populate his entire government with loyalists. He will need Republicans to do this. And you could have people like Senator Corker as Secretary of State, which is a real possibility that would be reassuring to foreign countries and our allies. He could make moves like that if he wanted.
Okay, this question too. What's the possibility this election will be challenged and we'll have months and months of...
Well, we'll see what kind of a margin we're looking at the end of the night. If this is close, it looks to me like there may be movement in the area of questioning certain state outcomes. If it seems more definitive than that, I would think it appropriate that it be accepted, and I would kind of expect that, although Mrs. Clinton is not someone who, she's like Trump in that neither of them would be quick to do a concession speech. So we'll see how that goes.
This is not about them. This is about their voters, and their voters are going to protest. We see it tonight in front of the White House. Mark my words, tomorrow those protests are going to grow.
All right, let me turn it over to Scott. As we try to find out if we're any way closer to a decision, we go to Scott at the decision desk.